Hello, Malcolm here, and welcome to the Sunday Sample for Corporate Worship Matters. And today it's our second look at the issue of posture in corporate worship, inspired by the book Participating in Worship by Craig Douglas Erickson. Standing. What's the place of standing in our times of corporate worship? Perhaps we don't even think about it, right? It's something we just naturally do as part of our times of worship. But what is its precise usefulness? Are we making the most of opportunities to stand? Are we intentional and conscious of the value of standing? There are many postures for prayer, for example, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, but the most common in the Old Testament is standing. For example, Exodus 33 verse 8 and verse 10, 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 26, and Psalm 134. Then also in the New Testament, Matthew 6 verse 5, Luke 18, 11 to 13. I'll put all these references in the show notes. You can look them up later. And Jesus stood. He stood to pray, for example, and expected his followers to do the same thing in Mark chapter 11. The people of God as a body stood to listen to God as he spoke to them in Exodus 19 and Nehemiah chapter 8. Jesus stood up to speak when he was in the synagogue and to read in Luke chapter 4 verse 16. So why do we stand in our church services? Why do we stand? Particularly, we often stand when we sing. Sometimes we stand to pray. But why do we stand? In what way does the standing enhance our collective worship experiences? Are we thinking about that? Sometimes we have people sit when perhaps it would be better to have them stand. Sometimes perhaps we have them stand when it would be better to have them sit. But as you plan a service, as you plan the songs and the structure of the service, is when to stand part of your thinking? I think it might be worth thinking about that. Why do we stand? Erickson suggests there are at least three reasons why we stand. Firstly, respect. We stand to show respect to somebody, don't we? When someone comes into the room and you wish to show them respect, if you're sitting, you stand up. Soldiers and the like stand to attention when they're receiving their orders. People in a courtroom stand when the judge comes in. That's a sign of respect. So perhaps part of our standing in church services is to show respect. Perhaps when the Bible is read, we should stand. We often stand to sing. And that's singing theological truths and things that are in the Bible. Why not? What about someone reading the passage to be preached that day and the congregation standing to show respect? Something like that. Secondly, after respect is readiness. We stand to be ready. When you're seated, you're not really ready to do anything. When you're standing, you're placing yourself in a position for then movement, action, and you're ready to act, to move, to serve. Again, perhaps we should stand at the end of the church services, and then, some congregations, some traditions have a blessing at the end saying, go out and serve the Lord. And by standing at the end, perhaps we're showing that we're ready now to go and practice what we've been learning about. And then thirdly, respect, readiness, and confidence. There's something about standing that denotes confidence. Erickson says in his book, as a posture for prayer, standing signifies the freedom and dignity of the new covenant. Adopted as God's children, Christians may stand before God confident that they have been redeemed. Moreover, standing expresses the confidence of Christians as they await the final coming of the Lord. As the elect, they will be able to stand when God appears. Malachi chapter 3. Enraptured in heaven, they will stand before the Lamb. Revelation 7 verse 9 and chapter 15 verse 2. I'll put these references in the show notes. Wow. When we stand when we get to heaven, we will be with God forever. We will stand before the Lamb. We won't be cowering. We'll be standing. Why? Because we're confident of his love for us. And that helps us to be standing and, in a sense, ready for an embrace, perhaps. Something there. So should we consider the reasons for standing more in our church services? And perhaps we should. Let me know what you think. I'd be interested to see what your response is to this. Have you seen standing used in ways that are less than traditional, less than uncommon ways that you thought actually help people to participate more in the corporate worship? So I'd love to know. Leave a comment anywhere you see or hear this recording. Leave it publicly so that we can learn from each other, because we learn best when we're learning in community. If you know anybody who would benefit from this, please pass the link on. Leave us a review. Tell others about it. Please do pray for me as I prepare these. And I also pray and hope that the next time you gather with all your friends to worship our great God together, your experience will be Psalm 100 verse 2, worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs, whether you're standing or not. Until the next time, take care. God bless.